Yeah.
Watch that, it's quite a high step that, so do you think we should all step down beforehand so we don't fall?
Maybe, yeah.
Right, I've done a risk assessment, you can go ahead. Risk assessment, you can go ahead.
It'll take me to get down there.
Can you manage?
Yeah.
No, please.
He wants another step in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'll tell him. I think Gary.
It's to keep the burglars out.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we got started. I'd like to welcome you all again. I know we're mostly pitcraft, but welcome to the general public, and especially welcome to Chris again for attending this ceremony. With a good meeting up at Cleedamore, and it really was something to look back on. This disaster involved 21 lives. Kells there. He said it's in line with that. Where's the just about in line with that weather vane over there. So we're just about in the area for doing it. 21 lives, no young members amongst them, fortunately. I think the youngest was about 24 or something like that, but even so, a life is a life. And of the two people who managed to get out, one of them died later. He died on the 7th of November. He was 46 years old. The father of the two got out. And they'd actually taken their dog to work in the dog silver. You know, you just can't wait at times. But anyway, that's enough of that. I was going to ask John to say a few words about this pit, but he's like me, he doesn't know a lot about it, do you?
There's so little detail really about it. It's, newspapers at the time didn't go into any great depth. They just regarded the event and everything. So, unlike in later years, we'd have known exactly whereabouts in the pit it happened, and just seems to said that there were rotten pillars.
Aye, that's what they did, but they weren't with it. Well, they were the robbing fellas.
That's what they said. It was a robbery district, but and there was mentions about an old pit in one of the reports. Would it be that they'd worked up bank and got into out of it, or
Maybe.
you know, maybe taking some remnant pillars out of there?
Anyway, there's 21 lives lost. And we'll start by asking John to say a few words.
Well, I'm just trying to read it all through. It says 20 people, 20 person, I think it's actually 22 or something like that, it doesn't really matter. It was a place that had excellent ventilation and regularly preserved, but I also take notice that there was a lot of effort went in to make sure that they had davy lamps or safety lamps and they were maintained. I've never experienced that in a pit before. That's what it says here, and that's what it went with. There's one where it says when they left the work on the Friday, the ventilation was okay, and when they came back the following day or the Monday, the explosion took place. I also read on another report where the pit was 160 fathoms deep, and that to me seems rather a long way down at that particular time in the years, as it were, about 1793 and 1796. So it was approaching 1,000 feet deep. And I've just been speaking to John about it, and what we know now is that all these pits here have all been as connected underneath. So therefore, possibly this wasn't needed for a ventilation shaft. There was plenty of ventilations other places. But and it also says about the two people that were brought out alive. They were kept alive because they had good flannel shirts on. I suppose it was wool, fleece and everything else, and you're fortunate there'd be no such thing as cotton and things like that. You know, there wasn't any light material. So, but there again, I also appreciate that when you get this far down in a mine, it's normally very warm. So I don't know why the flannel shirts saved their lives, because, as I said, pit workings are normally warm. And if you take notice today, the government's wanting you to go onto heat pumps. Well, that's where the heat comes from, out of the bowels of the earth.
No, true. I can tell you that Lowther based one of his pumping engines here, so that maybe accounts for the depth of it, John. After Jean's engine pit, one of the biggest ones was put in, and then it was moved to Soton, wasn't it?
No, it was the winding engine that was there.
Oh, winding engine.
It was the Eslop engine, and do you know the story of that one?
No, no.
It started life here, then it moved to Castle Rig.
All right.
Do you know which that is? Rogard's Pit, as you turn in for Piker,
Yeah.
off Bonsby Park's Dissiton Road. It's that old barn on the corner. It went there, then it was taken to Rear Pit,
Oh, is that the one from Rhea?
and it was still working there in 1878, and it was dismantled, and Lowther gave it to the Science Museum in South Kensington.
Is that what was it not like a Cornish pump as well? No.
No, it
was a winding engine, John.
A rotary engine.
For winding coal.
Oh,
and
right. Because I'm interested when you say that, John, because what I've read is a Cornish pump is also displayed somewhere down in London that come out of Rear Pit.
Well, the pumping engines would be of that sort, just rocking and using the pump rods, but this was a rotative engine. At the other end of the beam, turned a crank and a big flywheel and a drum. And there's, they said Heslops stood at Lauker. Ironworks there, so it was a local firm. It was an improvement on
He
what's
modified them, didn't he?
allegedly broke the patent or something, that infringed the patent on Bolton and Watt's engine, but that's a bit debatable.
If we go on to the people that died, right, who lost their lives, on one caption I looked at, all but one person lived in the new houses, so they were under the authority of Lowther, who owned their house. So therefore, they were in a captive place, because if they'd leave Lowther's work, they would have lost their house as well. I don't know what happened to these people that, when they did lose their lives, what happened to their families. It doesn't really say that. But there was only one person who lived somewhere else, and that was that Joseph Gremlinson. He lived in the Gins. You know. I suppose in one way he was sort of as a free agent. He could have gone and worked anywhere and he got a job. But these people that were attached to this pit were also attached to Lowther's housing at that time. But the other thing I take notice of, we've been to several of these now, and I always take notice of the young people that's involved, that's lost their lives. Well, the youngest person here was 22, and I don't know why that was. Well, they hadn't even considered bringing the teenagers, as it were, to the youths down the pit. I don't know, or did that come later on? I don't know. But when you look at the new houses, you want to know how old they are. Well, the only thing I know is this was 1818. And the new houses were shut down about 1933, 1934. So there was like 116 years that the new houses were occupied at least. And they weren't very comfortable, because you hear people that's lived in them about silver foxes and silver things and water running down from one from the other. You know, it was...
Well, they had an earthen floor as well. It was one of the last places where they actually used thresh. You know when you hear of the threshold?
Oh yes, aye.
It was actually straw. That was the flooring in those buildings. Isn't it? So it shows you how long ago it was.
Oh yes, that's right. And the other thing you take notice of, and I suppose it happened right through Whitehaven and other places as well. You know, there was only one toilet to so many houses. You know, whereas now we want at least one toilet and maybe two or three in a house. You know, you think about this, the luxury that we have when you compare to these people at that time, or what they call very primitive. You know. I don't think I've got a great deal else to say.
Would you leave us in the Lord's Prayer?
And sort it out. Right. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
Who art in heaven,
hallowed
hallowed be thy name.
Thy
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I'll ask who got the first page, you, John?
Dave, what I said on Saturday was, and we're coming to armistice, but the same thing applies to these miners. They give their life for our well-being, and it was the start of the Industrial Revolution, and they were part of it. And that's why we have a good life now, because they lost their lives trying to achieve what we have.
Could you have gone up there last week? John told that lot.
Huh?
Say, could you have gone up the road last week and told that lot?
I hope who protected the body
Oh.
again.
John,
That's why they
don't
can
get me
afford to
involved
drive
with
up
that.
there.
The only thing I'm going to say to you is they're putting all these cases up, and we are paying for it through legal aid.
Anyway, John.
Okay, Jacob Anderson. William Askew. Edward Kane. Jonathan Castlehouse. Andrew Conroy. John Cummins. And Thomas Baker.
William Alexander Milligan, John Phillipson, Murphy Quinn, the two fast one, Thomas Rickaby, John Unfang, Patrick Wade, Michael Ward,
Joseph Grimson. George Hasselden. Stephen Howe. Patrick McAvoy. Alexander McGillan. James McGray and William McKinney. Thanks, Chris. You want to there one? That's the names read. Somebody could time as a minute silence, could you?
I don't know what I could do.
I will.
You will.
Oh, that's it. I never thought about that there.
That's it.
Thank you. Would you like to say anything, Chris?
It's an honour to be here today, as and I went to Claytonmoor as well. We need to keep these going every year and get a lot more involved. You know, because a lot of people out there didn't know about it, so we'll promote it, because we need to give thanks to these people, without a doubt.
I agree with you. Anyone else like to say a few words?
Just think it's a weird coincidence, but there was a John Cummins in this one, and there's a John Cummins in the Claytonmoor one as well.
Right, there was.
On Saturday. I was just wondering if they were father and son.
Well,
Maybe.
you'd never know. Where did they live at, Dave?
New houses.
New houses, all these people are.
That's right.
But a lot of the
one
Claytonmoor
of them
one.
could have lived up at Ensingham, which was part of it, which was
There wasn't any Balthorn then, so most of the miners, as I see, that were there, some of them come from Ensingham and Keighley area, you know, so it could well be.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming, and we'll get in and out of this again. It seems to have come on again,
Just
so
started now.
thank you anyway.
No, thank you, Dave.
Next pit crack, I've got a load of photos stuck